South Korea has become a democratic, wealthy society in a speed that no other country has ever experienced. However, due to the rapid speed, the country is now encountering major problems in various ways. These problems will highly affect us, our lives, in the future. So today, our group is presenting the three biggest problems: economic growth, population, and North Korea. And also, we will give solutions in order to solve these problems. The first problem is about the economy of Korea. South Korea has the largest GDP in the world. Our economic growth has been a miracle, and outstanding technological advancements have been made. Economic growth was made by the help of the government and conglomerates, which now still runs most of the economy. Studies tell that Korea's economic dependence on conglomerates struck most highest among countries that have over 1 trillion GDP. The graph shows that the top 7 companies make over 43% of the total GDP of Korea, and Samsung Electronics itself makes 14%. However, these conglomerates are currently struggling to compete in the international market. 67% of the conglomerates have chosen to go on retrenchment, and most of the companies tend to stabilize, not innovate. This leads to the struggle of the entire economy of Korea. The IMF has announced the economic growth prospect of Korea to 2.7%. Considering that on 2014 in October, the economic growth prospect was 4%, this is a major problem. The prospects are reducing every year and are likely to keep on doing so. To solve this, we must reduce the dependence on conglomerates, and to do so, the government should make a better environment on creating businesses and the growth of SMEs. To help create new businesses, the government must first abolish the Solidarity Guarantee System. The Solidarity Guarantee System is a concept that only exists in Korea, and the purpose is to protect creditors by making a system that if the debtor cannot repay the money, the guarantee becomes solidarity and has to pay for it. So, if a company fails to pay the debt by when they lend it to establish a company, the CEO has to pay for it with his own personal money. The purpose of this concept is to protect creditors and protect the CEO from siphoning off the company's money. However, this system is enhancing the fear for young potential CEOs. Loaning money is definitely needed to start a business, and starting a business always has the possibility of failing. Especially Korea has the lowest rates among the OECD nations of surviving companies after 3 years from establishment. Considering these conditions, the CEO Solidarity Guarantee System gives young people the thought that failing a business leads to personal bankruptcy. Studies from the Korea Institute for Industrial Economics and Trade shows that 34.3% of Korea's young venture CEOs say that the biggest obstacle on new establishments is the fear of failing and facing personal bankrupt. Therefore, we must remove the fear of failing a business and give the idea that even if you fail a business, you can still revive and start again. Abolishing the CEO Solidarity Guarantee System is the first thing the government must do. The second solution is invigorating venture capitals. Venture capital is money provided by investors to start-up firms and small businesses with perceived long-term growth potential. This is a very important source of funding for startups that do not have access to capital markets. Korea's VC market is growing. However, there are some changes that should be made in order to vitalize startups and SMEs. We must first develop the intermediate recovery market. You can see that most of Korea's VC is focused on the later stage of establishment. If the intermediate recovery market is developed, it will be easier to invest and disinvest freely. This will prevent investors from only investing in ventures that are close to IPO and will lead to active investments in the VC market. The second solution is that more private VC investment systems must be made. Most of Korea VCs are made by the government's fund or budget. This gives many restrictions. Therefore, we should make a startup ecosystem near Seoul so that many venture capitalists and ventures can be connected. And these connections will lead to active investments. The final solution is that the government and private groups should make a firm that connects the ideas, studies, of universities to ventures and SMEs for commercialization. Korea's research and development is led by conglomerates, national research, and universities. Therefore, the connection between the organizations and ventures are weak. Conglomerates keep their studies to their own, and the national institutions are for the government. So the best way for ventures to get ideas is from universities. So if the firm from the universities and the ventures are made, more active studies would be made and more creative ideas will be linked to commercialization. Also, the rate for former professor and researcher CEOs can be increased. In 2005, the percentage of former professor CEOs was 4.2%. However, in 2009, it has reduced to 2.7%. Also, the former researcher CEO rate was 1,880, but reduced to 1,249 in the same period. If these connecting firms are made, it will be more easy to start a business with creative studies and ideas, which will help ventures, SMEs, and people who are willing to start a business. The government has supported both SMEs and ventures in various ways. However, supporting financially is not a solution. The government must take these three solutions. And as future leaders and the young generation of the economy, we must change our goals. Most students dream to work for conglomerates or doctors or lawyers. But with these changed policies, we must take off the fear of failing and try to take risks. These three solutions is only a trigger for us to do something different and new. The changes of the policies are nothing if we do not do anything.